Check out the brand new units for January. Here come the mortal side of Tzeentch. Back in bits. Alright, welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. We've got wave 1 of the brand new January Tzeentch releases for the Age of Sigmar. We got the Carrick Acolytes, the Gaunt Summoner, the Ogrid, Thaumaturge, and of course, some really nifty dice that we're going to talk about here in a second. Man, what an exciting time. Of course, we know the demons are on the way. We've got a second round of releases looking like to be the bird people. And then it's on into the demons and the big Lord of Change, the giant chicken himself. But we're not quite there yet. But when will then be now? Not soon enough, I imagine, for quite a few demon players out there. But we've got these guys. They're not too shabby. We're going to talk about them, hit up some rules on them as well. Now, of course, the Gaunt Summoner and the Ogre Thaumaturge were models that came in the Silver Tower expansion, if you remember that one back in summertime of 2016. They're not, I mean, they're pretty cool kits. I mean, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on it. Like, obviously, the Gaunt Summoner, it's this computer slice kind of thing. We've talked about it at least once or twice in our Silver Tower unboxings in here. I mean, you could probably use maybe like the book or something. And bits-wise, there's not a whole lot you can use here. And we're going to go over his rules, too, when we do the Thaumaturge here in a sec. As far as the Thaumaturge goes, well, this is a great model as well. You could use him for a lot of different things on the tabletop. He comes on a rather large base, but what I really like about him, he's got the special little kind of clam pack thing here that you can just kind of slide him out, kind of like what we saw with Aramon and Karn, and who else has come out this new brand new models. I think that's it. Well, so far so good. We've seen some really good stuff come out. So he is $41 retail. The Gaunt Summoner, I think it's $25, so not too bad. But when you start comparing it to how much the actual Silver Tower box set is, well, you start kind of really scratching your head like, well, should I just buy that after these guys come out and you get a bunch of acolytes in there too, right? So this is the typical 2-sprue clam pack set, and I actually think I said in my Silver Tower review, I was like, wow, the way they made these, I'd be really surprised if this didn't see its own release in the near future. And lo and behold, 7 months later, here we are. It's January. That's right, it's happening. So that's a 50 mil round base right there, and then of course the great styling and everything. You've got all the hair and all the little tattoos cut into the skin, the curled horns. I'm sure there's a term for that. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a demonologist. I couldn't tell you. Well, I guess technically he's not a demon, but I'm not one of those people. I don't know. But either way, it's a great looking miniature that if you're into, needing a Minotaur for your adventures, whether it's in the Silver Tower or in the brand new January releases, well, this guy might be for you. He's 160 points, since we got the little thingamaboober here. So he's 160 points for this man's. And you can see kind of the slices, like how he goes together. Pretty easy stuff. I mean, he's got like left and right legs, little hoof sections, and then of course his horns go onto the 2 halves at the top right there, and then the weapons kind of glue together, and you're good to go on that 15 mil base. Now, you got this nice little instruction manual here that you can separate this out and actually use this on the tabletop as a nice little game aid. It's always good to get some aids with your miniatures, so to speak. So the Thaumaturge is a big baddie, 6-inch move, 8 wounds, 8 bravery, 5 up save. But what's really cool about him is he has the Grey Horns attack, which is 3 up, 3 up. Neg 2 to rend and 3 damage. Now, of course, he's got these other attacks here, which are 3 up, neg 1 rend, D3 damage. But kind of what puts him over the top is, now he has some drawbacks. The Brutal Rage, if he takes 5 or more wounds, you add 1 to his hit rolls, but you subtract 1 from his casting and unbinding, which just kind of goes without saying. He does D3 mortal wounds when he charges in, and he heals 1 wound in each of its hero phases. So he kind of self-repairs in a sort of way with no roll, which is really great. He is a wizard, so he knows Arcane Bolt and Mystic Shield, but he also knows Fire Blast, which is really interesting because it's like a mini Arcane Bolt that does D6, I think it's D6. Yeah, D6 mortal wounds And after the damage has been inflicted, you can set up a unit of pink, blue, or brimstone horrors within 1 inch of the target, and the number of models set up is equal to the number of mortal wounds inflicted. So it may or may not be good, because we all know what the average of rolling a 6 is on 1 die, and so you get a squad of 1, but the fact is it can start being a little speed bump, just putting something out in the open so something has to go around it, because remember you have to stay 3 inches from around things, could be a real pain in the arse if you're trying to march down the battle line and get some objectives or something like that. So just something to think about right there when it comes to that. Now, as far as the Gaunt Summoner rules go, he is a big fatty 100 points. You can't have more than 9 of these guys in any pitched battle army. We're going to go over the new Tzeentch book here in a second in the other video, but I just wanted to show you his rules, which I thought were in the back. There he is. So we've seen these rules before. These were a free download, and I have not compared the 2 sets from what came out when the Silver Tower box was out to this right here. It appears like he is the same. He doesn't seem to be too ridiculous. He hits and wounds on 3s and 4s, does D3 damage here with his chain staff. He does know extra spells, Infernal Flame, which causes on a casting value of 8, pick a viable enemy unit and roll 1 dice for each model in the target unit that is within 18 inches. The unit suffers 1 mortal wound on each 4 or more. Roll 3 dice for each monster or war machine in the target unit rather than only 1 dice. So that's a really, really ridiculously good spell on a casting value of 8 to get off. Now remember, you can have multiples of these guys as well. So that's kind of like a interesting type deal as well. He does have the Book of Profane Secrets. At start of the movement phase, it can summon a unit of Chaos Demons to the battlefield. You put them within 6 inches of a realm gate or 9 inches away from enemy units. He also has the Warp Tongue Blade, which inflicts damage to enemy unit. Roll 2 dice. If the roll is higher than the enemy unit's bravery, 1 model in the unit is slain. Otherwise, the blade inflicts 1 wound. So not super too crazy. But remember, he's still a wizard, so he still knows Mystic Shield and Arcane Bolt special rules in addition to the Infernal Flame special rule. I mean, long story short, I think he's great in onesies. You don't need to take a whole bunch of these guys in your army, but he would be good to have to buff. Then we get over to, we haven't got to the dice, but I'm going to have something special to say about this in a second. The Carrick Acolytes are basically human bird people. They're not actual bird people. I guess they want to be bird people. We'll go with that. So this is a box of 20 of these bad boys right here. And I think, I want to say, now that we got the points, I think they're 140. Yeah, they're 140 for a minimum of 10, maximum of 40, and they are a battle line in the Tzeentch Allegiance. So if you take them as Tzeentch Allegiance, they are battle, yep, they are battle line. Nope, they're just battle line in general, actually. They don't have to have Tzeentch. So that's cool. So in any Chaos army, there are battle lines, or Grand Alliance Chaos. Dun dun dun. This particular kit is really interesting. $50 retail. It comes with the Voltrak. That's the Tzeentch Vulture, because obviously it has to be different bird people, right? You also get the Carrick Adept, which is the little war scroll kind of thing. You get one of these upgraded dudes. They all have like Cursed Blades and the shields, and then you got the Adept with Glaive and the Arcanite Shield right there, and then you can see all the colors and things that you're supposed to paint them. Now, as far as sprues go, they do come on a brand new 32mm basis to give them that dynamic stance. Very cool stuff there, right? You get 2 identical sprues. Here they are. I was like, I swear, that was a thing. You do get 2 identical sprues to make a total of 20 miniatures. So really, you only need, for 1 battle line unit, this is 140 points right here for 10 of these bad boys. And you can configure them a whole bunch of different ways, but I don't want to kind of spoil anything quite yet. Let's look at some of the models here. So here you can see the Voltrak, the tablet as well, and then you've got some of the weapons themselves, the Cursed Blades, very similar to stuff you would see in the Silver Tower. The shields themselves look great. I mean, these things, you can paint these up separate and then glue them onto your miniatures. You might also notice that there's little spots on some of these torsos for you to actually attach the shield to itself. They have these little nubs, and the nubs can be used for, you know, on the arm, on like the vambrace area, or also they can kind of nub right into this little vertebrae kind of slot thing right there, and they go right over the little I don't know what that thing would be. It's straps. We'll call it straps for the leather. So really cool design for these guys. Now they're way better multi-part than what we saw for the Silver Tower, but obviously if you're gonna, if you're thinking about needing the Gaunt Summoner and needing the Thaumaturge, then, maybe you want to pick these guys up, but maybe you want to go with just the Silver Tower box in general, just to kind of stock up and get a good deal. Because remember, Silver Tower comes with all those miniatures, those other miniatures too, all of the heroes, and those guys are all 25 bucks. And I think, I just off the top of my head, somebody fact checked me on it, but I think there's at least 6 of them, and 6 times 25. I'm no mathematician, but that's like the cost of the box right there. Not even counting, these 2 guys right here, and soon to be the blue and pink horrors, maybe the brimstone horror. So once those models come out, I would imagine a lot of people are going to be taking a serious, hard look at picking up the Silver Tower Warhammer Quest box. So that's the sprues themselves. Let's take a look at the instruction manual, and we'll go over some of the rules real quick before we talk about dice. Because who doesn't like dice? This is a game after all, and when you've got custom dice that not only look cool but actually have a purpose now with this particular faction, that's pretty neat. So you got the Carrick Acolytes, right? You can equip them a bunch of different ways. You can do the Adept, of course, with the Cursed Blade and the Shield, or you can do with the Scroll of the Dark Arts, or you can also have a Volchark. And then just the normal guys, they give you all the instructions on how to build them and how many you can actually make out of the box before you go to option select over to weapons. And then here's the options for all of your weapons. And then they also show you right there where you can put the shields on the back of them too for some of them. So you got the Cursed Glaives all up in here. There's the shields and all your different head options. Now, as far as the models themselves go, and they're not amazing, but they don't suck either for being little Mortal Trooper guys. They do have the Sorcerer's Bolt. That is the... Actually, who gets that? I forgot. Yeah, the Adept actually gets that. He can make 2 attacks rather than 1 with the Sorcerer's Bolt. And I think everybody gets 1 shot. Yeah, they all get 1 shot. So, for their points on paper, they're okay, but remember, they get these little Sorcerer's Bolt things, plus in combat they're just straight average, 4 up, 4 up. To hit is 5s, which is understandable because you can buff these guys, right? So for 140 points to get 10 of them, I feel like, no, they're not like Chaos Warrior stats, but they're no cream puffs either. They will get picked up pretty quick if you don't guard them, but they can be very super annoying as well. As far as the shields go, on a roll of 6, the shield deflects damage and the wound is ignored, so basically it's like a 5 up, I guess, sort of. I don't know. Oh, that's for mortal wound, excuse me. So it's a 6 up, but it also deflects against mortal wounds as well, kind of like the Chaos Warrior shields do. Then you've got the Gsalt Sorcery. You can add 1 to hit rolls when the Sorcerer's Bolts if you're within 9 inches of at least 1 friendly Tzeentch Wizard, which I imagine. Hey, I know where 2 of those are right here. Boom. And it doesn't differentiate between mortal and demon, so that's really cool. Paired Cursed Blades, you can add 1 to any hit rolls made for models attacking with a pair of Cursed Blades, which you can make over here because there's the options for it. Scroll of the Dark Arts, which we already covered, that is an actual bit you can add in here. If at least 1 model you need is equipped, you can increase the range of the Sorcerer's Bolts to 18 from 12. Very cool stuff, because 18 is pretty much like long range in Age of Sigmar, I feel like. But, it is what it is right there. And then the Volchark, he is pretty nifty because if you're equipped with him, anytime a wizard within 18 inch successfully casts a spell on a 5 or more, the wizard suffers 1 mortal wound as soon as the spell effects have been resolved. So it's kind of like Age of Sigmar's Perils of the Warp kind of type thing, except for you automatically take a wound. And a lot of these guys don't really have a whole lot of wounds, maybe like from 4 to 8, depending on how beefy they are. So this is a really interesting unit, and I think it's a good common denominator kind of battle line type deal for a lot of the folks out there when it comes to Tzeentch. Now, we do have all the rules because, of course, we have the book, but we haven't seen everything yet as far as all of the combos and things, because there's a whole sorts of upgrades, and that's why we're going to do that in a separate first look video and also a special tips and tactics video for how to play or the things you need to know about playing Tzeentch in Age of Sigmar. Now, these dice right here, I think they're $20 retail. Yep, $20 retail. They're super solid. They're very similar to the Tzeentch dice for the Thousand Suns release. They really step up their game with the quality of their dice. Of course, they got the nice little acrylic kind of holder type thing. And you've got the two different kinds right here, but you can tell what they are basically by the little nubs on the chaos symbol right there. Like that's a 3, that's a 2, 2, 5, it looks like 5, 4. So it's very easy to see. At first glance, it might be a little difficult. And then of course you've got the Tzeentch symbol and whoops, crazy slippery little things. You got the Tzeentch symbol and the skull symbol. So the skull symbol I would say is the 1 and the Tzeentch symbol is the 6. Let's see how they roll right here. So we've got a 6, a 5, a 1, a 1, a 1, whoa, and a bunch of 5s and a 4. Well, it's not bad. Let's try it again. A 6, a 6, a 1. Ah, that was a way better roll. One more time. Tiebreaker roll. I just love rolling dice, I'll be honest. 6, 6, 1, 5, 2, 2, 5. Ooh, that's lots of 2s. It's like a Yahtzee of 2s. Boom. Nope, that's a 3. Yeah, these are a little annoying to see sometimes. Okay, but what's really cool about this set, and they tell you in the book, is that it comes with this little insert here, and you're probably wondering, well, what's that insert about? Why is there 9 little dice spots right there? Well, what's cool about this is you have a thing, if you're playing Tzeentch now, called Destiny Dice, and at the start of the game, you get to pick up 9 dice. And if you only use these for it, or say you only use the gold versions, because I think there's 18 dice in here, which makes sense because then you would have 9 of each to use. So you've got 9 blue ones and 9 gold ones. You roll these before the game starts, and you're like, alright, booyah! These are my Destiny dice, and you put them over here. And if you played Silver Tower, you're very familiar to this mechanic right here. And you put all these in this little tray, and you're like, okay, well, here are my Destiny dice. And at any point during the game of Age of Sigmar, there's a whole list in the book, and we're going to talk about it. You're like, okay, cool. Well, I'm going to do some hits. I want to say, I know I need a 6 here, and I know I need a 5, so I'm just going to throw that in there. And then I've got 3 more ways to try to attempt to hit you. So these are set, and I'm going to roll these. And that's what we got right there. Wow, that was actually a pretty decent roll for most stuff. And that's how it works. Or you can just be like, well, I only need a 6 for this particular roll. Put whatever roll right here, boom, I'm done it. And then that goes away for the rest of the game. So it's got this really interesting kind of Silver Tower mechanic pulled over to Tzeentch. And with all these new bird people coming out and all the big Billy badass demon looking things, I can definitely see the allure of Tzeentch when all of this stuff comes out and we get a really good look at this release, because it looks to be a multi-part release over 3 weeks, plus the book, plus all sorts of goodies in the book. You gotta stay here, stay tuned to this channel, click next, because we're gonna go over that book in like 2 seconds. So thanks for hanging in there, folks, and checking out this channel. Omissions, clarifications, questions, please leave it in the comments below and we will try to get to them all.
Deleted scenes, bonus content, and all the interviews and post-game wrap-up videos can be located in the Hall of Veterans on thelongwar.net. Visit thelongwar.net today and try a week completely free with no strings attached. That's not all. Thelongwar.net is also your hobby resource for exclusive early access with an ad-free experience to all your favorite videos. Members of the Hall of Veterans gain early exclusive access to multiple hobby videos.